You know, part of this investigation will be hearing from those agents and officers and people on the ground. But we do know that he came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony.
Is that your final answer? That's how impeded a law enforcement operation is inflict maximum damage. We can make the jump to inflict maximum damage. That's interesting. How would you characterize what happened with that dog? You were just impeding his life operations? Is that what you would go with? Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. And don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Hey, Kristi Noem, I want to show you something. Oh, I promise it's not the actual footage, because we already know you won't watch that.
We extend our love, support, and heartfelt sympathies to Alex's family, friends, and our community during this difficult time. Please join us in honoring the life and memory of Alex Pretti with a moment of silence.
Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. It don't sound like the spin is working. It don't sound. Imagine that. Kristi Noem got a credibility problem. Somehow, just repeatedly repeating the same statement ad nauseum don't seem to be hitting like it used to.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic
handgun.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
Now, certainly for myself, and I know a great number of subscribers and members right here on the channel, this not our first rodeo when it comes to people saying you gonna believe me or your lying eyes. Oh no, we've been here.
Dear white people, it's insane, isn't it? It's insane. Watching the state come in your neighborhood, come in your communities, murder people, and then tell the public that that person was dangerous. When you saw it with your own eyes. Could you imagine how much more crazy it would be if one day you looked up and the video evidence was just gone? It would make you feel like you're a crazy person. It would be surreal. How absurd would that be? To see it with your own eyes and then go home. And then there's the government on the television telling people there's no war in Ba Sing Se. Isn't it insane when you saw that this person was and then could you imagine having people be like, I don't know. I know they just killed that person, but he did. In 2011, he did have a run-in with the police, and he had a little weed. It would be crazy, wouldn't it? Over and over and over and over and over again. This has been happening in our communities under Democratic leadership, under Republican leadership, under a black president, under a white president, and it is enough to make you feel like you're going crazy.
But of course, they're very quick to find specific individuals where the criminal justice system was unfair. It's not as if they can't conceive of impropriety when it comes to the criminal justice system. They just pick and choose their individuals. Isn't that right? Donald Trump and Tina Peters.
Do you think the chances are that you and or Donald Trump are in prison a year or two from now?
Well, I'll tell you, if I thought I was going to prison, I would probably be on the beach somewhere, but relaxing. It's just like with Donald Trump's indictment. My indictment has nothing to do with the facts.
Hey, MAGA, yeah, y'all on your own. Yeah, the lady who won the magnetic mattress. That's what we going. We're using all of our capital after denying it for years, but that's not as crazy as the billionaire. I can tell you that right now. Now, as far as Fox News is concerned, surprisingly, they actually did come to their senses at some point. Yeah, it was 10:30 in the morning. It was like around the same time that BET used to run Uncut. That's the time it was Fox News Uncut. And yes, they used us to do it.
Streets of Minneapolis today. What is first and foremost in your mind?
Well, John, I got to tell you, I've watched that videotape for at least about, let's say, 100 times because I knew I was going to be coming on with you and I wanted to speak as accurate as I can. And I do believe that there needs to be a complete investigation. I was taken back by the White House, who initially put out what I defined as misrepresentation of what took place there when you look at the video. It was said that Mr. Pretti was banishing a weapon. Well, he was not banishing a weapon. Yes, he did have a weapon. It was said that by the White House that Mr. Pretti attacked those agents. No, he did not attack those agents. And one of the White House individuals called Mr. Pretti a domestic terrorist. I find this man is dead. He has a family. And to go out and call him a domestic terrorist without giving any more information is just unacceptable. And then, John, when I looked at the video, what you saw was an agent pushing a woman aside, Mr. Pretti getting sprayed, them jumping on top of Mr. Pretti. And this is something that our audience should see with their own eyes. You can see where one of the agents actually physically takes Mr. Peretti's gun. And that is before he shot. And then all of a sudden he shot, there's a pause, and there are more bullets that are shot in his direction. So that investigation, what I'm asking is that there be a complete and thorough and transparent investigation, John, not only by the federal agencies, but also by the state and local investigators also working together.
Now, can you imagine what that casting conversation was like? Like, hey, we need to actually get some information out to the people. We can't just have people repeating the same statement ad nauseum, or else we will lose the rights to call ourselves news and information. So like the whole fair and balanced thing can be way out of whack. So we gotta get somebody to say something truthful on this platform today. But hopefully somebody that they can just we got the other side of the brown paper bag. Get the paper brown. Take that paper bag into the green room. See what we got down there. No, because they'll see him and they'll just be like, oh, here come Black Lives Matter. They don't even care who he is. Yeah. The same way they do Harris Faulkner. Now, at this point in our lives, we've seen so much shameless pandering from Kristi Noem. Like absolutely shameless. And not all of it even involved Corey Lewandowski. Okay? At this point, we have seen disgusting behavior from Kristi Noem. This one was worse.
And it is early, we know, in this investigation into the shooting death of Alex Pretti. But I want to have you walk our audience through what exactly you know. So you said last night, it looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. Did he say, I'm going to kill you, or did he leave a note? How do you know that was his intent?
You know, part of this investigation will be hearing from those agents and officers and people on the ground. But we do know that he came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony.
Is that your final answer? That's how impeded a law enforcement operation is inflict maximum damage. We can make the jump to inflict maximum damage. That's interesting. How would you characterize what happened with that dog? You were just impeding his life operations? Is that what you would go with?
When he did that, interacting with those agents, when they tried to get him to disengage, he became aggressive and resisted them throughout that process.
Hey, Kristi Noem, you gotta delete the J6 footage from your phone. Because it's all popping out of that. Like, this is, you know, now you're going to tell me he tried to run the officers over with his car? Is that what you want to tell me?
Officers used their training, followed their protocols, and were in fear of their lives and the people around them. And that's how this tragedy unfolded, and we hope we never see it again. It grieves me to think about what his family is going through, but it also grieves me what's happening to these law enforcement officers every day out on the streets with the violence that they face.
It grieves me to see what his family is going through as I reflexively call him a domestic terrorist on this propaganda network repeatedly and wants to talk about I told you there's worse. When it comes to, don't put no governors on her. There is because, you know, we would have stopped when it came to we would have stopped a long time ago. She can always go further. That's what we've learned about Kristi Noem. Now, here's something I didn't mention in my original video about this, right? Because one of the things I said was, can you imagine a scenario where Trump and Kristi Noem would have reacted in any other way? We've seen how quickly they are to jump out in front of it, and we see their willingness to invent whole scenarios in order to protect their agenda before any investigation has even been done. And in the case of Renee Good, refused to even do an investigation. And already in the case of Alex Pretti, refused to allow investigators to do an investigation of their own to the point where they're actually getting sued. Now, here is the thing. If we cannot even imagine a world or scenario where you would have reacted in any other way, what is the value of your reaction? What is the value of your reaction that we know would have come regardless? And apparently, I'm not the only one in DC who can see 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah, Trump, I said 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 + 2. And you was trying to do tariffs. CNN reports multiple DHS officials are furious over how Kristi Noem handled the Alex Pretti shooting. After watching the video, officials say her public claims don't match what Americans can see with their own eyes. One DHS official told CNN, the department needs a law enforcement leader, not a sicko fan. The cracks are forming inside the machine. I tell you what, Kristi Noem, I will do you this solid. Obviously, I see you as a sicko fan, but like most sicko fans, you will do the thing you have to do to curry favor with the person who is the sole reason why not only you have this job, but you have any level of responsibility beyond dog walker, because we know that's not something that you could handle. So that being the case, it would make sense that you would repeatedly carry the water for Donald Trump. However, that comes at the cost of us viewing you and everything that you do exactly that way. You know, it would be like a goat knowing that you could take them out at any point in time and then wondering how credible their account is or what happened to their friend.
More on the backlash after the fatal shooting of Alex Pretti by immigration agents in Minneapolis, as videos are contradicting the account that is coming from the federal government tonight. There's mourners that are paying respects to the ICU nurse on the ground in Minneapolis, as there's growing criticism coming from inside the Department of Homeland Security, where multiple DHS officials tell my colleague CNN's Priscilla Alvarez they're furious with how the agency and Secretary Kristi Noem is handling the shooting. Some of those sentiments have been fueled by what we heard from Secretary Noem earlier in a swift defense of the federal officers involved, and also her claims about Pretti himself. Priscilla joins me now. And Priscilla, what are you hearing exactly from these officials? What did they make of what they're hearing from Secretary Noem?
Well, Caitlin, as they've had more time to absorb the videos that have been circulating on social media and that the American public has also been looking at and dissecting, they have grown more frustrated and more concerned, not only about the shooting incident, but also the public response by the Department of Homeland Security. These are officials who are keenly aware that they risk even more reputational harm, which affects them in their operations and could also have long-term consequences that they are going to have to wrestle with in the years to come. Now, of course, this is all stemmed really from what they've seen online and what they've heard from the Trump administration. And in my conversations, they simply can't square, just as many other people who've observed this can't, what happened in that shooting incident and what the Department of Homeland Security Secretary has been saying. As you mentioned, Caitlin, she swiftly defended the agent yesterday and this morning did much of the same. Take a listen.
Now, let's keep in mind, those that are employed at DHS at this particular point in time understand what job they took or decided to continue to push through. This ain't Kristi Noem's first rodeo or Donald Trump's first rodeo when it comes to wild, outlandish claims. But we've reached a sufficient point where even these people that were willing to rock up to this point cannot continue to deny reality to this degree. And it's even infected Fox News.
What can you tell us?
Great to be with you, Maria. And look, Secretary Noem stated it perfectly. You do not get to attack law enforcement officials in this country without any repercussions. You do not get to do that in Minnesota, LA, or anywhere else.
Ooh, Maria, I know you was gonna cook, but I got something for you. Yeah, this was him about Kyle Rittenhouse. Offered his own legal services.
We're raising money. If you have a case, we will review it for free, and we will cut the check to the lawyer to file your defamation case and get your day in court. If Kyle Rittenhouse's team is listening, or your audience is tweeting, this is what Fight with Cash is for. We will help Kyle Rittenhouse's defamation cases. We will pay for them by raising money so he can clear his name like I'm clearing mine.
And just in case this wasn't already out of pocket enough for Kash Patel, this was an appearance, one of multiple that he made on the podcast of a gentleman he claims not to know in front of Congress. That Kash Patel, that FBI, that credibility.
And the interagency is leading the charge out there. We've already arrested with the interagency those that violated the FACE Act and impeded a peaceful prayer in church. We've already just last night arrested 4 more individuals involved in the damage of government property that we saw the videos of online. We've arrested other individuals who've made threats to law enforcement online. So we are not messing around.
Oh, what, you got your jacket? You saying you got your FBI jacket? You don't got to borrow that, ladies? Is that what you mean? About we not messing around? Huh? Because I imagine you wasn't messing around with the Charlie Kirk thing. We see how that went. So what is we not messing around? That means you not using a private jet to go see country shows? Like what's that?
It doesn't have to be in person. If you threaten law enforcement officials or civilians, we are going to come find you. And as for this latest shooting, yes, DHS and HSI are the lead, and the FBI is processing the physical evidence. So we're in possession of the firearm, which is going to go to our laboratory. But as Secretary Noem said, no one who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines. That is not a peaceful protest.
We're raising money. If you have a case, we will review it for free, and we will cut the check to the lawyer to file your defamation case and get your day in court. If Kyle Rittenhouse's team is listening, or your audience is tweeting, this is what Fight with Cash is for. We will help Kyle Rittenhouse's defamation cases. We will pay for them by raising money so he can clear his name like I'm clearing mine.
And you do not get to touch law enforcement. You do that anywhere, this FBI is going to be leading the charge to arrest those.
But how was he threatening Border Patrol? You've collected the evidence, you said, right? You have the handgun in your possession?
That's right.
And how was he using that handgun in terms of threatening Border Patrol? What was the threat? He had his camera, right? He was filming it.
That's something that I will let the DHS and the prosecutors, because they are the ones investigating that case. I don't want to stylize that evidence, but I trust the men and women on the ground who are trained professionals to only use it when it's absolutely necessary. And I trust Secretary Noem's leadership.
Wait a minute. Did you just sit up here? And talk about you can't put your hands on and threaten and this, that, and the other thing? You sat up here and just attempted to taint the entire case when it comes to public perception. And then when asked the most basic of questions that underpins your entire premise, we got it. You know what I mean? The lab, and they got to do, I used to watch a lot of CSI back in the day, and the Miami one was crazy before, while Caruso was there. But I Gil Grissom, I'm gonna let them handle it. You know what I mean? Yes. And by the way, just as I have already asserted, when we can't imagine a scenario where Kristi Noem or Donald Trump would have come out any other way, we also can't imagine a scenario whereby this investigation would lead to a place of accountability for ICE. So what does it mean? Like, what does it mean? I see you though, Maria Bartiromo. I saw you. Hey, I saw Comer walking aimlessly around. He don't know what to do with himself because he liked to protect Marjorie Taylor Greene. She ain't there for him no more. Cook him, would you?
Another individual is dead at the hands of Border Patrol. Let's be clear. We do not know if there was any pushback from this individual who was armed. We do not have evidence that he was waving a gun, doing anything to threaten Border Patrol. He had his phone and he was shooting. He was viewing and recording the incident. That's what he was doing, recording the incident. Mm-hmm. What is your reaction? And you are an elected official. What can you do about it?
Well, look, I don't think there's any question a majority of Americans want President Trump and ICE to go in and apprehend the criminal illegals. That's what President Trump campaigned on, and he's doing exactly what he said.
Hey, you sure, Comer? You sure? Because I just did a video last week where the majority of Americans want to abolish ICE. That's how badly this has been. I'll send it to you. I send you. You don't use email. That makes a lot of sense. That explains a lot of what I heard from you. You don't use computers at all, do you?
I look at what happened in Minneapolis versus what happened in Washington, D.C. When President Trump sent the National Guard into Washington, D.C., the Mayor Muriel Bowser, supported that. She worked, her local law enforcement worked with the president, and in a short period of time, they have really been successful in reducing the amount of crime in Washington, D.C. That was a big success. Fast forward to where we are in Minneapolis. We have a governor, an attorney general, and a mayor of Minneapolis who are getting people jacked up, trying to get them, convinced that this is, some type of illegal raid, that all their lives are threatened, and they've got all these white liberals coming in, trying to run over ICE, trying to, spray them and do everything to disrupt. And
they don't have an answer. That's the thing about a script. It doesn't lend itself to ad-libbing now, does it? They don't have an answer at all for the most basic questions to the premise that they have pushed out. And by the way, don't think you slick trying to take credit for a decrease in crime in D.C. because, again, if you refuse to acknowledge crime statistics and information on the way in, what does it mean on the way out? Y'all did that. Oh, yeah. And by the way, you also have the issue because as we saw towards the end of last year, where some people sought their life raft away from the sinking ship that was MAGA, you have them to contend with as well. Yes, James Comer, I'm talking about Marjorie. Put your shirt back on. While you are being gaslit by the political industrial complex all over social media and the news telling you what you're supposed to be outraged about, think about this. Republicans funded the refugee program by nearly $6 billion of your taxpayer dollars in the DHS appropriations bill, even though you've been losing your mind about paying for refugee funding while you discovered all the Somalia fraud. And the DHS appropriations bill funds all of Homeland Security, including ICE. Now you've watched a shooting video probably over 30 times trying to figure out what happened while a near civil war is being fueled in Minnesota. But look past the hype and focus on the granular details. The DHS bill funds both ICE and refugee programs. The DHS bill funds doubling H-2B visas and deportations at the same time. Do you see how the Uni-Party in Washington funds both sides and then gaslights you and drives you to hate each other? It's all manufactured to drive your outrage, and that's how they make money. When the American people stop being baited into fighting each other, the American people will defeat the political industrial complex that divides us all, and we can work to truly put Americans first. Well, that was a whole... Oh, there's more. The political industrial complex wants the Hunger Games. May the odds ever be in your favor. Well, I still haven't forgiven them to what happened to that little sister. I admit, she wasn't done. I unapologetically support the Second Amendment. Legally carrying a firearm is not the same as brandishing a firearm. I support Americans' First and Fourth Amendment rights. There is nothing wrong with legally, peacefully protesting and videoing. MAGA, consider it like this. We lost our minds when we watched Biden's FBI track down and aggressively carry out home invasions and arrests on peaceful J6ers who walked in the Capitol through open doors. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We got video of that too. Yeah, same way we got all your supersets. We got video all of... Stop that. Imagine if one of our MAGA independent journalists or even just a MAGA supporter stood in the street outside a J6er's house while Biden's FBI carried out a law enforcement operation, home invasion, and arrest. Then Biden's FBI goes to the MAGA guy videoing it all and shoves a woman with him to the ground and sprays them with bear spray, then throws the MAGA guy to the ground as MAGA guy was trying to help the woman off the ground. Then Biden's FBI beats MAGA guy on the ground, disarms MAGA guy, and then shoots him dead. What would have been our reaction? Both sides need to take off their political blinders. You're all being incited into a civil war, yet none of it solves any of the real problems that we all face, and tragically, people are dying. Y'all gonna have to handle that. Y'all gonna have to handle that. Because she just putting logic and sense right out on the timeline for all the MAGAs to see. And, that's going to drive them crazy. That's going to drive them crazy. And then I can't imagine how exactly, because Marjorie Taylor Greene's whole premise was that there's no there when it comes to this mission called ICE. Imagine how they would react if Kristi Noem had proposed they leave over a completely different issue.
Pam Bondi sent a letter to state officials in Minnesota in which she made a list of demands for ICE to leave Minneapolis. And one of those demands was that the state turn over its voter rolls to the federal government.
And here is the letter in question. Allow the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice to access voter rolls to confirm that Minnesota's voter registration practices comply with federal law as authorized by the Civil Rights Act of 1960. Fulfilling this common sense request will better guarantee free and fair elections and boost confidence in the rule of law. Hey, Pam Bondi, Tim Walz got a response. No, he mentioned you by name. I know everybody act like, yeah, you don't matter. Yeah, no, he mentioned you by name.
The Attorney General sent that in. I would thank the local folks and Commissioner Snell. Thank you to you and your team over there. In that letter, they talked about, you need to hand people over who are in your jails. They're taking credit for people that we've had in jail for a long time. We always hand them over, and the commissioner very clearly. So they're lying. They're lying. This has nothing to do with fraud, as the Attorney General said. They're not sending us forensic accountants, and these are things that have been we're dealing with now and have been for quite some time. So look, it's not a serious attempt to get at this. The way to fix this is get these folks out of here. We've continued to work with them. They asked us for these numbers. We provided them. We continue to show, and they're not serious. And look, I think everybody understands what the last request was, totally unrelated to anything on the voter files. This is, again, as the Attorney General said, Donald Trump telling everybody that the election was rigged, who started all this nightmare for America. Has nothing to do with it. And I would just give a pro tip to the Attorney General. There's 2 million documents in the EPstein Files we're still waiting on. Go ahead and work on those.
The rule of what? Wait. For you, Kash, and Kristi Noem, and Donald Trump. And by the way, hey, when you talk about free and fair elections, you mean like this? Is it this free and fair elections? Free and fair elections. The only thing that I'm impressed by is that you even still have a Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, because I saw how y'all gutted it. I'm shocked. I'm shocked you were even able to find a sign to pretend like that's a thing. Well, that's wild. That's wild. But how about this though, Pam Bondi? And get Kristi too. So we are supposed to believe a conclusion coming out of this ICE shooting to legitimize a ICE mission that you're willing to abandon over voter rolls registration information? MAGA, they got y'all looking crazy out here. They got y'all looking, crazier every day. Crazier. And that's before I even get to the 2A of it all. Oh no, we gonna be back for the gun rights act. No, I got something for y'all. I got a video. I got a video for y'all.
Yeah, fucking political. That was murder. An ICU nurse who worked at the VA, who was legally carrying a firearm that was holstered while he was filming, who is now being painted as a domestic terrorist because he took a gun to a protest. But all these 2A a couple years back were screaming Kyle Rittenhouse's name from the rooftops. Oh, well, that was different. Yeah, you're right. He had a rifle strapped to his chest. The man who was shot and murdered by ICE was concealed carrying a firearm that he was legally allowed to have. I am now seeing reports that it's even possible that they disarmed him by taking his weapon out of his holster that was at his 6 o'clock, and then they mag dumped the guy. So if you are legally carrying a firearm and they take that off of your person and then utilize that as a justification to put rounds in your back while you were laying face down on the pavement, then it was never about following the law. The Second Amendment doesn't matter anymore. And you're so where's all the don't tread on me 2A gun-toting, boot-licking tards? Or is it just when it's not on your side? So I'm done playing the middle ground. I'm done making first aid videos that just might help, that can be seen by both sides. Trump, ICE, we are not mad enough.
But ultimately, I would like to end right here, because Alex Pretti, as much as all these conversations that are being had, was a son, he was a citizen, and by the looks of that video, he was the proverbial good guy with the gun they like to talk about. And I think it's important to keep his humanity front and center as we discuss stories that surround his death. This is Alex Pretti, a VA ICU nurse honoring a veteran he cared for at a VA hospital. The son of the deceased veteran just posted this video on Facebook with the following message. R.I.P. Alex Pretti. He was my dad's ICU nurse. He read my dad's final salute at the VA after he passed away. Never wanted to share this video, but his speech is very on point. Also, my father's final words to me was continue to fight the good fight. He would be honored in Alex's sacrifice and ashamed of this current administration. And my dad's words, I encourage you all to continue to fight the good fight. And I will let him take us out.
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and especially thank you for all your fantastic comments.
Sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy mother.
Hey, keep it clean. We got a PG-13 operation here. We got a lot of young eyes and ears. And a lot of old eyes and ears. It's me. I'm the old eyes and ears. All y'all old viewers know, because even as recent as a couple years ago, if something was behind me, I'll just go get it. You fast forward to 2026, something behind me. Because I ain't turning around. And a special shout out to the mods for preserving the sanctity of the chat. I see y'all getting salty with them. That is YouTube that is flagging y'all, not the mods. They are just out here doing the Lord's work. But as I was saying, I appreciate all your phenomenal comments like this. Love the new set. Keep up the fantastic work. Love it all the way from Northern Ireland. Well, iron go bra to you. I like the new set. You look great in your new space. Why, thank you, Ozark Hillbilly Hippie. Love the new set, but missed the little hands from your last spot. Was those from your babies? Ah, yes, it was. And you know, Reese loved the kids. So we gotta find a little space for that somewhere on the set. Oh, we got another one. I like the Basquiat art piece and of course B. Marley. Now we're not using regular clothes hangers like we're in college, Reese. Handle that. Well, you know, I got something. This is actually supposed to be a professional for jerseys. It's a hanger for jerseys. What are the instructions? They didn't give me no instructions. Well, they think I'm an architect or something? You know what I got something.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
This is what it made right here. So, ain't that nice? So we got a nice little professional hanger we can use moving forward. And a special shout out to Anjanette, who sent me this message. Hey, Reese, happy Wednesday. I found it, the Pick Me doll. Oh, they done did it now. And it's $375. It should be cheap. A Pick Me doll should absolutely be cheap. I'm surprised it's not at the dollar store. I think that's what Nancy Mace was going for in her voting outfit. I'm pretty sure that was it. She was the model.
But wait, there's more.
I got to get a Pick Me doll on the peoplesgetup.com. I got to get somebody to design my own Pick Me doll. By the way, did I show y'all I got some new stuff coming out for Black History Month? My theme this year, we still here. You know what I mean? We still here. Which definitely means a lot, considering all that we're up against. Because history is generally taught as a series of finished chapters, books clothed in shelves. But I chose We Still Here for this year's Black History Month because it reminds me that history isn't just behind us. It's living, breathing, moving, and evolving through every one of us. For centuries, the narrative of the Black experience has been tested by systemic efforts to erase, silence, or diminish it, something that's only been increasing in recent years. Yet from the resilient spirits of ancestors who survived the Middle Passage to the brilliance of the innovators, artists, and activists shaping our world today, the story has never been broken. To say we're still here is an act of profound joy and defiance, and it means we're still creating, still defining global culture from music to technology, and still leading, breaking glass ceilings in boardrooms and courtrooms, and no, we didn't need DEI to do it. We're still healing, turning historical trauma into a legacy of wellness and community. So this year, I don't just want to look back at where we've been, but look at all the people around me and celebrate the persistence of a people who were never supposed to make it, yet continue to thrive. We're the dream realized, the song unsung, and the future unfolding. We're not just a footnote in history up to the whims of this governor or that president to take down because they got in their feelings. We are the authors of the next chapter. We Still Here.